In 1985, North England sophisti-pop trio The Colourfield released their debut album, Virgins and Philistines, on Chrysalis, and from it, the track Castles in the Air.
I really wanted a hand to touch her knees. I really wanted to share forgotten dreams, go through the motions of loving from afar, and feel as if I'm reaching for the stars.
Harkening back a bit to the early 70s singer-songwriter somewhat, a few pieces come to mind, perhaps. From names I'm not going to mention right now, but that voice that you're hearing might be familiar or maybe not, because it's the third coming of former Specials frontman and former Funboy 3 Terry Hall, sounding very different than he did in his prior iterations, a much richer tone. And I guess it's because it's the first time he's really been singing, that he's not flanked by other vocalists. And I mean, in those other bands, it was always the three of them singing simultaneously, or in a few cases, like double, because yeah, of a certain female trio that piggybacked off Funboy 3.
But each drop of hopelessness amounts to what could be a raging sea. It could be springtime, I'd meet her at the gates, if beauty ever comes to those who wait.
Okay, let's face it, he's just singing in a much more fluid, more lyrical manner. And more soulful, too, in ways that the music of the Specials just wouldn't have had room for this kind of singing.
Castles in the air, if only they were there, just like a beatnik love affair, those castles in the air.
Yeah, great. A crooner. Yeah, the Specials' best kept secret was Terry Hall's vocal range.
So let me look into the windows of your soul. Let me make the most of what I'll never know. We'll eat forbidden fruits and sing our favorite songs and never tell each other we're wrong.
I love his ability to get really down into those low registers, and yet the way he kind of like highlights certain words. There's a certain kind of like melancholy that just slightly wells up in that tone of his.
Each drop of tenderness you'd give would be another reason why I'd want to live. Would be another chance to sink beneath the stars and whisper to each other in the dark.
Okay, I guess the main influence I'm hearing is Scott Walker, and perhaps by extension a bit of Jacques Brel. And at the beginning, I was thinking maybe like Al Stewart, but I'm just going to stick with those first two names I mentioned for now.
Castles in the air, if only they were there, we'd be so free and unaware, watching castles in the air.
Tasteful arrangements, yeah. Restrained guitar. About sophisti-pop is that it's so diverse in its like artistic vernacular. I mean, it could range from invoking like the lounge jazz of the late 1950s, a la Swing Out Sister, to like bossa nova of the early 60s. And here, like bits of kind of like fragments of chanson via Scott Walker. Yeah.
What should a lonely person care? What can a lonely person share? A broken heart's much too hard to renovate, 'cause beauty never comes to those who wait. Romance is a word that should be seen but never heard. I don't even know your name, but castles in the air.
I love how this chorus is just kind of like swelling out more and more, and how that melody kind of resolves by the underlying the vocal melody basically repeats several times, but the underlying chord kind of folds in on itself.
We were almost there. We almost share castles in the air.
Yeah, Castles in the Air, and there are two versions of this on the extended reissue of this album. One longer, has a lengthier like intro to it. I guess I was trying to decide between the two actually, and I guess I went with this one because it just was a bit more organic and just had this kind of quaintness about it. Yeah, real drums and all that. Yeah, let's hear another track from the album, Cruel Circus. Okay, some of that breathy vocal that he did a little bit of during Fun Boy 3.
I see fear in the faces of the tea-drinking chimps on TV. It's time that we swap places and went back to swinging in trees. I've seen the world about us and the Disneyland dreams a lie, but we find the abuse so amusing.
Appreciate the arrangements here. We've got that almost like harp-like acoustic guitar amid that boom, that like bass, kind of soft kick drum beat.
'Cause we get the last laugh time after time. Heard about the birds, heard about the bees.
Yeah, clean little guitar amid like those kind of airy harmonies.
Welcome to the circus. Tell me what you see. Fur coats on ugly people, expensively dressed up to kill.
I guess there is a slight echo in this track of, well, not the Specials, but one of their rival bands from back in the day, Madness. Like mid-period Madness, maybe. Kind of, when they went a little bit more music hall.
In a sport that's legal, within the minds of the mentally ill, the skins and the bones are reminders of the lore of the gun.
Like quirky, kind of like echoey sounds. Like, where are those echoes coming from? Like effects on the piano or something?
Hunting continues and will do until we decide to undo all the damage that's done. Heard about the birds, heard about the bees.
here, aside from Terry Hall, let's see, produced by Hugh Jones, drums Paul Burgess. Oh, interestingly, Ian Nelson, Bill's brother, plays saxophone on one of the songs. Percussion, Preston Heyman. Okay, the main band is Terry Hall, Toby Lyons, and Karl Shale. Karl and Toby were in a minor two-tone act called the Swinging Cats. Put out a couple of singles in 1980, but just didn't really take hold. It's too bad. They seem to have a lot going for them. I can't quite vouch for the material, but they were like this big band that had like a couple of women, or at least one. They had like that kind of big band sort of retro thing going, and yet their name would just really be cannibalized by other acts over the next few years. They were a bunch of cats that would emerge over like the 1981-82 period, like, well, the polecats, the stray cats. The swinging cats were first, but others just kind of stole their thunder. Yeah, they had a bit of that deaf school thing going in them. But they just kind of became a footnote. But the odd thing about this band, though, is that despite all of them being from Coventry, this band was based in, the Colourfield were based in Manchester, which only makes sense, I guess, when you consider the Manchester sound, or threads of the Manchester sound anyway, which these guys really picked up on, you could say, and did their own variation of that. But more on that in a minute.
If you could talk to the animals, could you justify your reasons with the animals? Why the animals, isn't it enough to eat them?
Okay, animal noises, yeah. That time I brought up the lyrics to some of these because some rather interesting lines have been passing me by here. Heard about the birds, heard about the beasts. Welcome to the circus, tell me what you see. I see the fear in the faces of the tea-drinking chimps on TV. It's time that we swap places and went back to swinging in trees. I've seen the world about us and the Disneyland dreams a lie, but we finally abuse so amusing because we get the last laugh time after time. But we finally abuse so amusing because we get the last laugh time after time. I think that's probably the operative line of the whole meaning behind this track. Let's see. Chorus again. Fur coats on ugly people, expensively dressed up to kill, in a sport that's legal within the minds of the mentally ill. Huh. He's going into kind of like a Morrissey territory here. In that, the skins on the bones are reminders of the law of the gun. And the hunting continues and will do until we decide to undo the damage that's done. Yeah, this is obviously an anti-hunting, an anti-fur, an perhaps like anti-captivity number. Let's see, if you could, okay, more of the song.
Frankenstein's dream. Just white coats and scapegoats and guinea pigs scream.
That's an interesting arrangement right there with that clean guitar, kind of like playing sort of like in a acoustic plucking type style, and then amid the piano and just barren, like.
And animals do what they're told. They make their contribution.
I wonder if it's like certain piano notes are being kind of like spun and twirled backwards, sort of by tape looping and such.
Then we go and swallow them whole. Learn about
details in here if you listen closely. I don't know how well it's picking up, but yeah, little light droplets of piano, kind of misty, hazy, little guitar runs.
Heard about the bird, about the bee, heard about the bee. Come to the circus, tell me what you see.
One of those choruses where the way that they're singing, the vocal effect, that kind of hazy sleepiness, is as much of a hook in and of itself, or as much of it. It creates kind of the effect and the vibe of it all that gives the song its distinction. What I meant to say there is that the way that they're singing it is as important as the melody or the words being sung, yeah. As a matter of fact, I think it's perhaps the most important. I think it's the active ingredient that made it compelling, yeah. If you could talk to the animals, could you justify your reasons with the animals, why the animals? Isn't it enough to eat them? I see a room of sadness, the real version of Frankenstein's dream. There's no human kindness. Husked white coats and scapegoats and guinea pigs dream. So this is evolution, and the animals do what they're told. They make contributions. Then we go and swallow them whole. Heard about the birds, heard about the beasts. Welcome to the circus. Tell me what you see. Yeah, there were some good points made in this. I agree with some of it anyway. Yeah. And the Manchester scene, let's bring up the tag on Jazz Rock Soul here. We have a lot of different bands, I mean, going back to the 70s, but the sophisti-pop vein going in that direction anyway. Let's see, the Diagram Brothers, Kalima, there we go, Kalima, yeah, jazz pop ensemble. Simply Red from Manchester, Dislocation Dance, the Chameleons, kind of more on the ethereal dream pop side. Although toward the later 80s, there were a few bands that started mixing ethereal dream pop with sophisti-pop. Well, Prefab Sprout kind of did that on that 1990 album, or the band Frasier Chorus. Let's see, the Duritty Column, kind of more the minimalist. And let's see, Swing Out Sister were from Manchester, yeah. Almost. Swamp Children, yeah, that was pre-Kalima, another like sophisticated jazz pop band. Carmel, the soul pop vocalist, and a whole bunch of other very different bands that are nothing like the ones I'm mentioning. It just goes a certain ratio, which Andy Connell was a member. Actually, Corin Drury, the vocalist in Surround Sister, did like a vocal or two for them on one of their later albums. Yeah, so there was quite, and the Smiths were from Manchester, of course. And I ended up mentioning them during that last song because of the subject matter. Yeah, so there were quite a few bands in this kind of sleek, retro, smorgasbord type style. You know, a bit 50s, a bit kind of bossa nova, a bit chanson, a bit jazz. You know. Mixed with that kind of 50s dress-up sensibility, yeah. Anyway, for more Rubies and Sapphires from the two Colourfield albums, see the directory of albums by English C artists linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard, the vocals, the arrangements, the production, the layers, the nuances, the sonic detail, and the lyrics. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel trimaximalist, signing off.